Hey everyone, and welcome to episode number 40 of the Unknown Games podcast. I cannot believe that we finally made it to 40. That's 40. That's 40 weeks in a row. Was that a year? No, I mean, it's not a year. It's getting closer to a year. 52 weeks in a year.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's 52 weeks in a year, man. We're almost...
Well, yeah. Why I know it's 52 weeks in a year, but I was surprised about us doing a podcast for a year. But our first one was just after TGS, so I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. Wow, it's almost that time. And like I said, welcome to the Unknown Games podcast. I'm your host, Adrian, and the voice you just heard was Alex.
What's up, Alex?
40 episodes of What's Up? I'm Alex.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's all you can say. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we both live here in Japan. We've lived here for about 9 years, right? Going on 10?
No, it's 8.
I'm time skipping, so we're 8
going on
9.
8 for me. I don't know. 9 for you? When did you move here?
I don't remember. It's been so long. It's been like 2013, I feel like.
2013 would be 7 years then.
Okay, I'm gonna put it down to 2012 for fun.
That's 8 years.
We'll say 8 years. We'll
sure.
Bump it up. And we talk about our life here in Japan, of course, a little bit, and then the number one thing we talk about is video games, because we love the video games and what we're playing, what we're doing. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UGP_cast. And if you like to leave a voice message, and we encourage you to leave a voice message, let us know what you're playing, what your thoughts are, or I don't know, just write a nice voicemail. Did I say write a nice voicemail? I mean, you can write a review.
Yeah, you said write a voicemail, which is what neither of those things are. It's not a voicemail. It's like, but
that's a new type of technology that doesn't exist yet.
Sure.
That we will get to in the future. But you can leave that on anchor.fm/UGPcast. Just go there, and there'll be a link on there. So, and we'll have it in the show notes too. So that's pretty much it. Today, I don't know. I got new internet, so I'm happy that I finally have internet that I pray does not disconnect. I had some super woes. Alex knows. Alex knows about the woes.
That's good. I'm glad you have internet now.
Yeah,
better internet.
I was calling this like broadband dial-up or something, like the next tier of like it disconnected as much as dial-up, honestly, to be high-speed internet. And it was just frustrating. Like 10 or 15 times a day is like is another level of I could not finish a game of Apex. I couldn't, like Valorant was even crazier. Like Valorant, I disconnected 4 times in one match, which I was like, what? Can I even do this? Like, is this possible? But I don't know. That is my hope, that I do not have to move apartments for the moment, and I can just enjoy stable internet. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're talking as if you're in from the year like 2002 or something.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I felt like I was back in 2002 or worse. And I mean, if you listened to the episode last week, you might have heard some of I had to edit that pretty crazily. I shifted a lot of our dialogue here and there, left and right, and lined it up as best as I could. But there are some moments I just couldn't fix, and I just left it. I was like, just
yeah. I mean, it sounded good, to be honest. So that's good to yeah.
My heart warms. Anyways, we're going to move on into the show. We've got a couple of games that we've both been playing. I'm still playing Last of Us 2. I'm almost at the end of it. I feel like if I could divide into thirds, I'm in the last leg, the last third of it. And I have to say that I've been really enjoying the experience. And I've come back with another just kind of takeaway. And that's just that I'm really intently playing this game. I'm intently, like I'm listening very intently, like when there's a cutscene, I'm listening almost if it's like I'm watching Shawshank Redemption. I mean like a really good movie, right? That you're just every little bit of dialogue and everything, because there's no music in the background. It's just like some rain and then just, stuff is going down and you're just, man, it's going to be all right? And it's tense.
Sure. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then when you're playing in the gameplay, and they do have like sections where you do, of course, you're not in combat. You're just searching for things, but you never really let your guard down. And I've found myself, and I've only done this in one other game. I'm walking. I just walk. I don't run. Every seldom I'll actually run. I'm like, okay, it's kind of clear. I know that. But for the most part, I've spent most of the game walking in the world and looking around and searching and just looking at the sky, the grass, and just really admiring that how much they've crafted this world. Every little bit of it, it's just I'm in awe, and it just makes me want to walk through it. Have you ever had a
Mm,
game
mm.
like that where you just want to walk through the world? You don't really care about progressing. You just lose track of time in it.
No. I mean, I played games where I certainly appreciate the world and I like looking around at the environment and stuff like that. But nothing like what you're describing. I think for me, like recently, in recent memory, for me that was the Blue Protocol beta, that
Mm,
MMORPG that was in closed beta test in Japan a couple months ago.
right, right.
It looks really good. It's really, really good, especially when the sun starts to set in the game.
I love how they and that's a very because we've both played it, and I really love how they use the art direction in that style. I mean, it just really looks like it's like a water point, not water paint, but like that sky. It's so simple yet it's so nice to look at.
Yeah, it was. It looks really nice. And then for me, the other game that I played kind of recently actually was Code Vein.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Code Vein has a couple environments where I don't know. I just really liked how it looked because it's kind of like a destroyed world.
Right. Right.
So you can tell like people used to live here. Like there's an early part in the game where you're going through a city and just straight up, it's just like a normal kind of city. There's buildings, there's cars, there's a parking garage, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a point where like you're kind of by that city and there's like this huge, I don't know what happened. They actually don't even like, well, they kind of explain it, but most of the story is left up to the imagination of the player and they kind of trickle it down to you.
Okay.
Um, but there's like this huge like just hole in the ground and you're just like, how did that get here? And then like, it's still like, I resume Earth, but like, yeah, the sun starts to set and there's like a natural beauty to this destroyed environment. And I like to go into that.
I kind of understand that too, and I think what hit me when you said it feels like it was lived in is a thing that definitely resonates for me in Last of Us 2. It's really like when you go into a shop and without even having to read the sign, you know what type of shop you're in, whether it's a sports shop, whether it's a pharmaceutical place, or you just know what kind of place you're in, and there's flyers, and it felt like someone was there, and there's all these little notes, and I've really kind of engrossed myself in trying to figure out these notes that have been left behind by people who are connected to the organizations you're trying to find. Whether they're alive or dead isn't the point. It's just more like what they did when they lived here, and then you kind of imagine, it was just such a better place before all of this, before everything hit the fan. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I'll probably finish it around the end of this week, and after that is of course Ghost of Tsushima. Oh my goodness, why? Why do they
Yeah,
have to make games
that
be
game
like
looks
this?
really good. And honestly, like that game like was not on my radar until like last week when I looked at my first trailer and I was like, oh, actually, you know what? That game looks pretty good.
It looks good, and I kind of blocked it out in terms of just looking at trailers and every because I'm like, I'm already gonna get it. I don't want to see anything else. But I did remember saying just a little bit on social media about the way that the sword has its own, like the way you're handling the sword is kind of intricate or something like that, right? I don't know. I don't know if that was in the trailer that you saw, but there's
No, I don't recall seeing that. I mean, I was watching the Japanese subtitled version of the trailer that was at a recent event. It wasn't State of Play. I can't remember. It was a pretty recent net event.
okay. Okay.
Where they showed off like 18 minutes of gameplay, and I was watching the Japanese subtitle version of that. It was basically like fighting
Oh.
styles. Yeah, so it's
Hmm.
like, oh, this is the samurai style, and then it's just like, I don't know, whatever they're calling samurai style, and they're like, this is ghost style, and it's like stealth combat. And
Yeah,
and
yeah,
to
yeah.
me, that looked really interesting. So I'm a pretty big Metal Gear fan,
Hmm.
and I really enjoyed playing through Metal Gear Solid 5, because 5 is like open world, but it's still a stealth game, and
Right.
you played 5? Yeah, but a little bit. You didn't finish it, or I don't.
No. I've never booted it up. I don't even
Okay,
own it.
fine.
Oh, well,
All right,
I
fine.
guess I PS Plus own it, but
Right. Okay. So it is open world. Well, it can be open world. But anyways, you're in Afghanistan or other parts of wherever the game takes you, and you're free to basically take over any kind of guard post in the way that you want. You can approach it from any direction that you want. You can use whatever weapons. You can, if you have a sniper rifle. So it's like, oh, I'm going to take out the guard with a sniper rifle, and then I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to take my vehicle and drive really close, and then, do everything hand to hand. So you're really open to take down a guard post in the way that you want. And then seeing the Ghost style gameplay for this reminded me of that, and I'm like, oh, that looks really fun. Like that is something that I'd probably be really into. So,
wow. I remember them talking about that. And I think that 18-minute trailer, that was from a couple of months ago or last month. It was whenever the Xbox had their, their gameplay revealed to third parties. And then like the day after, Sony dropped that in English, and which is 18 minutes of Tsushima. And everyone's like, what the heck? And I was like,
yeah, it's something or other. Yeah,
it could be that same one. But I just remember like I saw 1 minute and I said, nope, turn it off. I'm good.
you're
But
gonna get surprised. You want to get
I
surprised
want
by
to get
the.
surprised. I
Yeah.
haven't, I'm not usually like that with games, but for Last of Us and Final Fantasy VII and for Tsushima, like I want to be surprised. I don't even want to know what blade of grass color is just going to be flying in front of my face when I'm, on my horse. And, it's interesting you brought that up about, Tsushima and the kind of ghost style. And I feel like that's how I'm approaching a lot of the fights in Last of Us too. Like I don't specifically feel like I'm locked into doing it either an action oriented way. I do have my weapons, even though ammo is scarce. I'm playing on normal. You will get more ammo, but I'm really compelled to just stealth through as much as possible. And I've been noticing that I can just completely skip fights if I'm really good. Now, usually I mess up like halfway. And there was a really funny encounter I had where I was stealthing and I was using the bow. I was hiding enemies. I was doing everything right. And I'm like 10 minutes into this little encounter, right? And I go up the stairs and a guard walks by. And the guards in this game, they kind of take their time. And sometimes they don't exactly go back on the exact same route. They'll kind of deviate just a little bit. And this guard walked by and I opened a door and she turned and all I heard was, we got an intruder. And that opened up an entire 10 minutes extra of just, oh, you got to be kidding me. It was
Or
fun.
just the last moment, and the guard kind of turned around. Yeah, kind of ruined your thing.
She ruined it. I was going to
Yeah.
perfect that little section and I was clean. I was clear because, once guards get called in, they just magically spawn. I don't know if it's like that in Metal Gear. If they just magically get some reinforcements. You're like, I don't remember you being there, but
I
anyways.
wouldn't say magic. Guards in Metal Gear 5 do have a schedule, which also kind of adds to the fun. If you know when guards are going to switch, like you know when they're going to change their shift, you can use that to your advantage. So it's pretty fun. But yeah.
So yeah, I've been enjoying that part of Last of Us. There's 4 different skill trees, and I'll probably talk about that next week. But I don't know what else. What are you playing, man? What are you up to?
So the Steam sale is going on for, I guess, 4 more days. But last week I picked up. I didn't mention this on podcast, did I? I can't remember. I bought three games. I got Alien Isolation because I have a friend who really wants me to play through it. I don't even like horror games. I don't like scary games, but I do have a friend who wants me to play through it, so I got it. It's like $10, so I got that. And then I also got Crosscode, which is it's an RPG that's inspired by Super Famicom. I think I did talk about this on the podcast.
I think you talked about
Yeah.
I don't think you talked about Alien Isolation, but I remember you talking about that because I was like, I can't process all of those crazy. There's a lot. It's deep. It's deep.
Yeah, so I bought that. I bought Crosscode, and then I also bought Ys Memories of Celceta, which is a remake. Ys Memories of Celceta is a remaster of the Vita game, which came out in 2012, which in itself is a remake of Ys 4, which came out on the Super Famicom. So it's really fun. If you have never played an Ys game, I do recommend them. There's a little bit of a divide between what we call old school Ys and then modern Ys. So
What exactly is the
Memories of
difference?
Celceta. What is the difference?
Yeah, old school versus. Is it just like the combat or something, or is it just like
Yeah,
the storytelling?
it's mostly the combat pretty much. So the older Ys games, you only control Adol, the main character. That's kind of like a standard action RPG. And then the modern Ys games, they're still action RPGs, but they employ like a type system. And the best way to describe it is rock, paper, scissors. So you
Okay.
have a party of 3, and you can toggle, like switch between them on the fly. And each character has a type. So for example, Adol is slash, and then you have a partner like Dogi or whoever, and he's like a crush type. And there's also like a pierce type or whatever. And then enemies on the field are weak to certain types. So if you have like a squishy enemy, you want to use Adol because he's going to do more damage. But if it's like a rock enemy or something, Slash isn't going to do a lot of damage. So you want to switch to Dogi because he's better at hitting rocks, basically. So it's like an action. Yeah, I guess
Action,
rock, paper, scissors.
rock paper, like strategy. Well, not
Yeah,
strategy,
and then
but yeah.
you're going to want to like just switch between your party members pretty rapidly to use the right one for the right enemy. You get surrounded by a bunch of enemies, so the key is swapping, at the right time. And that's modern Ys. So Memories of Celceta is a modern Ys game that came out on the Vita, right?
Okay.
And it's on PC. It's running pretty decent. You can tell that it's a Vita game because the UI is
Oh, is it still Vita?
I don't-
Vita like? It's still just the Vita.
yeah,
It's
it
still
has
just-
these huge buttons, these huge
Oh,
gigantic
man.
buttons because it was meant for a touchscreen, right?
Right.
So you open the camp menu, the main menu, and then you have 3 buttons on the left side. They're just huge, gigantic circles. And then you have 3 buttons on the right side that they're meant for touch inputs, but you're playing on a keyboard and mouse or a controller, and that's not going to fly. So
I'm like visualizing it in my mind. I'm like, oh, sometimes you wish that they could kind of go the extra mile for you, but
and
you
change
kinda-
the UI.
yeah, just the UI for me, please. Just the
Yeah.
UI.
That's why I do appreciate ports that consider it's running on a different platform. It's pretty cool. Persona 4 Golden, which launched on PC, didn't do that, but that's also a really good JRPG PC port. It suffers from the same thing where some buttons are just gigantic
Oh,
for some reason.
they're the in your face buttons in your face.
Yeah, but no, that's what I'm playing. It's pretty fun. I need to not buy new games, and I need to finish what I've been playing. So I've been trying to play through all the Persona games. Well, not all of them, but Persona 5 Royal and 5 Scramble.
I feel you.
And what else am I trying to get through? Maybe just that for now. Also like Ys 9, which I was playing through in Japanese, and yeah, I need to finish my games, just especially because more are coming out soon. Ghost of Tsushima is just like looming out there.
It's
That's like in a week
next
and
week.
2 weeks.
Or 2
Yeah.
weeks. 2 weeks. Well, 13.
Well, a little under 2 weeks, but
Is
yeah.
it 13 days or
No,
is
it's
it?
the 17th.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
it's insane, man. Like games, there's so many good games now. I sometimes I wish I could go back to being a kid where I just didn't know any other games existed and I just got 1 or 2, and you could kind of like wrap your mind around it. Now it's just like, oh my goodness, more games. From the sale, I did end up getting a Dusk Diver, which I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I want to see some gameplay of that.
I started looking at it again. I was like, okay, so I did get the Persona vibe from it, and then I couldn't tell the combat for a second because I caved and I got Assault Spy, which is kind of like DMC like combat, right? And then I looked at both of them together and I realized Dusk Diver is a Dynasty Warriors like combat. It's an action
Really?
RPG, but it's Dynasty Warriors. Because I was like, wait, there's so many enemies on the screen, and then they're using these special combo moves. I'm like, they're not actually comboing, but they're doing like team tag, moves and things like that. And then I realized,
Yeah.
okay, this is definitely Dynasty Warriors meets Persona meets probably some other game in there too. But it looks good, and I got Undertale and Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2.
Sure, that's a newest Guilty Gear. I can't remember. Like,
That's
there's
the-
so many. Yeah,
I had to like look 5 different times before I bought
like
it.
which you make sure you got the newest one, right?
There's like 4 different listings on the sale. It's like, do you want Guilty Gear XR? Do you want it Guilty Gear XR Rev 1? I think
Yeah,
there's
and
even
you're
one
like,
like before Rev 1. I'm like, what which is the latest one? Just give me the latest with everything.
Okay, so I know there's Guilty Gear Xrd, which is like the first. No, Sign is the first one, right?
I, I don't know. It's so difficult.
And then Revelator is the sequel, right? I think it's Sign and then Revelator.
How long
right?
How long has Gear been out? Has it is Xrd
been
out?
Xrd, right?
Right.
I don't know, dude. 2016 or something.
2016. And then
if anyone is listening, by the way, and you're just like, "Oh, you fools! How do you not know the Guilty Gear?" I think it's Sign and then Revelator and then Rev 2. I believe is the newest one.
Yeah, Rev 2 is definitely the newest one. And
okay.
Kaito, if you listen to the podcast, go leave that voice message on and set us straight. I know he's a huge Guilty Gear fan, but
but Strive is coming out next year, right? So
right, so that's why I decided to actually kind of get it. I know it's not going to play the same, and there was actually an article I was reading about the Arc System in terms of they actually came out and they said like, yeah, we want it to be a kind of new experience for everyone, of course, and we all kind of knew that, but they've been really looking at the feedback of the beta, and the community is really split. I mean, not the community. I think the community Guilty Gear knows what they want, and they also know that Arc System is giving them a completely different thing than what they want. In terms of it just feels too simple, and Arc System is saying that they want it to be simple, as in the way that it's so simple that you can easily create combo chains or combo strings. There we go. But a lot of the communities feels like this. It just feels like Street Fighter, right? Like I have my bread and butter, but it's the same bread and butter. It gets the damage. It works. It's like 5 hits. It doesn't feel good, but it works, And before Guilty Gear has so many mechanics and systems where you really do feel like you're being creative in how you play, and so that's where the kind of divide is coming. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if that factored into the whole 2021 decision or not. I really don't know.
I don't know. I think ArcSys, to be honest, I think ArcSys has been going in that direction lately. If you look at their other games like Grand Blue Fantasy and Dragon Ball FighterZ, they do have the one button combos, right? Or the simple combos.
Right.
Yeah. Dragon Ball FighterZ, is it one button combo or is it the 1, 2, 3, 4 combo?
I think it's the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a Gatling combo, but it's even shorter, if I remember.
Okay, because did you play the Persona fighting games, right?
I played a little bit when it came out.
Okay, because that's the 1, 2, 3, 4 button combo.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think they do that on purpose to make it easy to pick up, but then difficult to master. And especially when you get to a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ, which has huge appeal. Like Dragon Ball is such a huge name that they probably expected a lot of people to pick it up, despite not really being good at fighting games. They don't want to you don't want to get a game and then feel like you're bad at it, right?
Right.
So I suspect that's why they made the easy combos for fighters. But no, just that, and also Grand Blue Fantasy. I feel like they have been going in that direction recently to make it feel like it's easy to start, but then difficult to master.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And honestly, I bought it. I want to get Strive, and I bought it knowing like, okay, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna really dive super deep into it, but it does have a pretty in-depth story mode, and like you said, there are those kind of easy button features where I can just kind of enjoy the game, enjoy the graphics, enjoy the story. It literally just says, hey, we have an anime mode where you can just watch anime. You can watch the game as an anime. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'll do this, I guess. Cool. For $5, $8, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. So I'm looking forward to just kind of messing around in Guilty Gear and kind of, just seeing what it's about more. Outside of my Soul Calibur.
I used to play a lot of Guilty Gear when I was in high school, actually. So I played a lot of Double X. What is it called? Like, I don't know.
I think we even had this. Discussion.
No, because the one on Dreamcast is Zex, I believe. It's the letter X, but I believe it's pronounced Zex. And then I think XX is pronounced Double Zex. It's an awful name, it's an awful name, by the way. But yeah, I put a lot of Double Zex, I guess, in high school.
And this is exactly when I came in and just called it Double Cross. I remember this episode.
I think XX is fine. Nice as XX. Did you know, by the way, that when the game came out in English, it was published in English or North America as X2, I think, because they're like, oh, XX, that's a terrible name.
Really?
and I agree. But
It, we also had BMX Triple X. That
have you played that
existed.
game?
I know.
Have you played
I
that
think
game?
I played a demo of that game back in the day. I was like, this
They
game
had a
exists.
demo for that
This
game.
game existed. Like, yeah, man.
That's so funny.
I think it
Do you
came
want
with
to?
one
Do
of
you want to
those.
explain? You want to explain that game for any listeners who have never heard of that game before? It's on the GameCube, by the way. It's on the GameCube, by the way.
If I remember completely, it is a game where it is because BMX and like extreme sports, X Games, it was kind of popular when we were back in middle school. So I guess that's like 2005, 4, something like that. It was kind of blowing up, right? And for some reason, this BMX, I can't remember if there was a BMX series before this that they kind of like just did a spin-off of, kind of, because it was, it was back when Tony Hawk was huge. And the whole premise of the whole Triple X is literally exactly like it sounds. It is BMX with porn stars I'm like, why are there naked girls in this game? What?
Yeah, and I think like
on a bike, tricking. What is happening?
Yeah, you could play shirtless, right? It had like straight up boobies. It had boobies in it, right?
Yep.
The wildest game concept.
Wow.
I believe
How?
no. I wish I was a fly on the wall for that.
That marketing conversation.
Yeah, because you're like, hey guys, I can imagine it's like, hey guys, what if we had BMX, but with boobies? It's called BMX Triple X, and there's just a guy in the back. He's just like, oh my god, let's do it.
That's literally, I feel like that's just what happened. Because I mean, like, Conker's Bad Fur Day was also something that was a thing, which I didn't think it was that bad, not playing it. But then like you hear stories, you're like, what the heck? What's this like squirrel? Like, why is he so thirsty? Yeah.
Why is he thirsty?
Was he thirsty? Oh, well, we should take a break now, and then we're gonna head on to the news after the break. But yeah, everyone stay with us. We're gonna be back, and remember, oh goodness, my mind. I was just like, stay thirsty. I'm like, no, that's not what you want to do. Stay hungry, everybody. Stay hungry for that bread.
That's the name of this. That's the name of this week's episode. Stay thirsty. Stay thirsty. Yeah, that's guaranteed.
Oh man, we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everyone. We hope you had enough to drink, enough to eat. Hope you took a nice break. If you're listening to us in the car, well, we hope that you're not eating or drinking and driving safely. That's the best thing you can do in 2020.
Yeah, you need a designated food giver, I guess.
Uber Eats.
No, like when you're driving, you can't hire a person from Uber Eats to sit in your car and feed you. That's weird.
That would be beyond. That'd be beyond weird. I mean, this week we did get Kanye 2020, yo.
Oh no,
for
I
praise.
don't even. No, God, I don't want to talk about that. Are you gonna vote for Kanye?
You have to like write him in. I think. I don't even think he can technically.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna do it?
No.
Absentee vote. Yeah. So funny.
It's like once in every 4 years, you get one vote, and you're
gonna use it on Kanye
West.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I no. Oh man. Well, next year is coming up, and apparently NBA 2K21 is going. This isn't apparently. It's going to happen. It's going to cost $69.99 on PS5 and Xbox Series X, and there's no free upgrade. We've seen a couple of games, like Cyberpunk, and even games for Xbox Series X say that if you buy it on the PS4, you'll get a free or Xbox One, you'll get an upgrade for free to the next gen version. Well, that's not the case here, and it's plus $10. So the question now is, are we going to see the price hike in games for mini titles? Are we going to be hitting $70 games?
No, I mean, that's a really good question, actually. I can't remember the last time we had a jump. So here, okay, well, as a person who purchases or used to purchase at least a lot of games in Canadian dollars, we had a jump from 60 CAD to 80 CAD. But that wasn't due to generation or jump or anything. That was due to the value of the dollar falling. So, yeah. So next gen, or I guess current gen games, all games basically are 80 CAD. But with everything considered, like usually we would be tied to USD for video games. So for a time, a 60 USD game would be also 60 CAD. But I don't remember. I just don't remember in my life when we had an increase like that, because I didn't start earning money to buy video games until like in my adulthood when it was already set at 60. Do you know, like when it was PS2, for example, or PS1, like what was the average cost of a video game if you remember?
I don't, I don't remember that far on what PS2 was
Yeah, sure.
PS2. I feel like PS2 was still $49.99. It was still, if I
Okay,
remember, it was $49.99, and then for it looks like 2005, with 360 and PS3,
that's when we jumped to 60.
that's when we jumped to 60. Yeah, yeah.
So then we had PS4 was the same. So you think PS5 would have another $10 jump to 70 USD for a video game?
Man, I hope not. And I'm getting the news from Kotaku here, and it seems like third parties are free to set their own pricing, and we actually, like, I remember this actually happening with, this is kind of ironic, this was 2K, if I remember, back when they were no longer the license for, I think, NBA, or was it NBA, and also like Madden. It was Madden, there we go. The license for the NFL was about to expire because it used to be NBA, or not NBA, but NFL 2K series, and then Madden. So you had a choice, right? And then EA's like, nah, we just straight up bought the rights. So 2K decided to push their games for $20 a pop, brand new, $20, and they outsold, like they were killing it. Because I remember, like, all my friends like, yo, man, it's only $20. I'm like, you can't hate that. It's only $20. That's like the perfect price. And now they're going to be the ones to jump us up, potentially. I don't know if everyone will follow suit, or if this is going to be like a AAA title thing, like for Last of Us Part 3, which may or may not,
like
whatever.
70 CAD or something, or FF7 Remake 2 or something.
Right. And I mean, like, because living here in Japan, this is actually the normal-ish price of games.
Oh, yeah, games are expensive in Japan for sure.
Goodness, they're expensive. 70, 80, 90 just for the heck of it. I don't, there's no real standard, you know what I mean, here in Japan? Like,
no,
I don't know why some cost 90 and some are 80 and some are 70.
It is really weird, yeah. I think I told the story on the podcast before, but when I first came to Japan as a student in uni, that was around the time that FF13 had just released in Japan. So I came here and I went to an electronics store and I was like, oh, let me look at video games because I love video games. And FF13 on the shelves was retail. I think it was 9,000 yen, or it could have been over 10K, but that was the MSRP for Final Fantasy 13. And at the time, with the exchange rate to USD, that would have been like $90 to $100. And that is MSRP for FF13.
Yep. And that was not a special edition. That was just a normal.
No, that was like,
a normal game.
And
that was a normal.
And people were buying that like without question. They were just like, that is the price of this game. That is the price of this media, and I will pay for it. So
I don't think maybe we have talked about this before, just about how, like, Japanese media, for some reason, physical media, it doesn't matter that it's on digital, and digital doesn't even matter. Like, they have it for the same price. And it bugs me so much for certain things. I was just like, why is this the same price as I could get it for physical? And then there's no merit, and then it's just so expensive, but no one really questions, people just buy it. It's norm. Can't question what you don't know is off.
Yeah, I think that bothers me too. We did talk about it. We're like around the same time too. Yeah, anime, exactly. Yeah. Like, but Blu-rays. So you would, I haven't bought a Blu-ray in Japan for a while, and I think they're still really bad. But you would get like one Blu-ray which has like 2 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 2.
So that's like 45 minutes of content, and that's like what, like 6,000, 8,000 yen.
$60-$80, like, just for...
Yeah, so if you wanted to buy like the full series of K-On! Or something, you'd be paying money, like a lot of money.
Pay your money. A
lot of money. So it's pretty pricey. And then CDs as well. You want to buy like a single on iTunes, that's 500 yen as opposed to $1 in America. So
it's so weird. And I actually asked someone in the music industry, like, why is it like that? And there's different fees. There's like the fee for iTunes, there's the fee for Jaserac, which is the their licensing agency here in Japan for for media, and then there's the agency, and then there's all this stuff, and they're like, and that's why it comes up to be more than $1. I'm like, mm-mm. I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe.
it just seems very very pricey. So
So hopefully,
I don't know. Yeah, I think you get used to it, but you also don't get used to it. So
yeah.
well, I pay for Spotify now, but when I do pay for music, I usually buy it on like Bandcamp or something, or I use the Canadian iTunes store just because it's cheaper.
Yeah, that's I don't blame you. Yeah, that's what I do for a lot of my games, except for Steam. But we'll skip over that. Hopefully, the prices won't go up across the board. Hopefully, this is just something that 2K is doing, and in other games when they feel necessary, if it's something that's really cost them, and they feel like it's worth that $70, then I think it's fine. They have the right to charge that, and we have the right to either buy it or buy it on sale. There's so many sales that, like we're talking about. Like honestly, wait, wait a month, it'll be normal priced again. Wait 6 months, it definitely will be.
Yeah, there's a subreddit called, I believe it's called Patient Gamers, where they basically wait
Sounds like a
for
counseling group. Patient
right, and they
gamers.
just wait for sales. It's typically they're PC gamers because most of these sales are on Steam or GOG or something. But people will just discuss games that are on sale that they were waiting for or something like that.
Oh man. Well, hopefully, like I said, that won't go up too much across the board.
Well, how
And
do you feel though? Yeah, sorry, I want
how do I feel?
to yeah, like real quickly. I mean, like, is that fair to charge $70 70 USD for a AAA game, considering development costs and how much money it costs to make a AAA game? Is that fair for you? And when would you consider it to be not good value?
I think it would be so. I think it's fair for me as someone who feels relatively informed on the industry. If I see like a AAA game and I think, okay, well, for me, like, okay, we went up another gen. In theory, I feel like it should cost more in my mind, right? I feel like maybe that extra $10, maybe it's justified. But if I'm, just everyone else, if I'm looking at this, I'm like, why is it costing more? I don't understand, because in theory, I mean, in actuality, it's literally last year's game. This is a year by year game. So why is last year's game in this year's game only with the year in between? Why is it costing so much more if you're just upgrading some graphics? You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
right.
and
So
then, and so in my point in terms of like, when does it become unfair is when it becomes standard across the board. Because we've seen that with so many titles this gen where, and even last gen, like, why are you charging full price for this?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends on the game, yeah. So if it was sort of Last of Us, you're like $70 is acceptable.
Is it acceptable in my mind? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but if it's like NBA 2K, whatever, you're like, no, I'm not paying 70 for that.
No. No. I can't do
So
it. It's
in your
weird.
mind, is it's perceived quality or is it like number of gameplay hours? So what if it's like a mediocre game, but you have 100 hours of
Oh
gameplay?
gosh, this discussion. The
Is
the
that fine or no?
Oh
Because it's
gosh.
not a good experience. It's not a good 100 hours.
See,
Or if you take 100 hours divided by $70, then that's fine.
this is like the Journey discussion, right? Journey was, I don't remember if it was full price or Flower, those kind of games where
Mm-hmm.
they're literally like 2 hours or less, but they
Mm-hmm.
cost as much as, or maybe even half the cost of a full
Just
game.
some
But
other games, right?
yeah, and you're like, people are like, I bought this and I got like 5 hours out of it. I can say that when I was a kid, I literally bought Zone of the Enders. I bought Zone of
Mm-hmm.
the Enders and I beat it in 12 hours or whatever. I played it 2 days. Yeah, it was 2 days in the summer. And then I took it back to GameStop. And I took it back, and I'll never forget this because I regret doing it. Uh, I was in middle school and I just said to myself, I bought this game and I beat it too fast. I literally took it to them and said, I beat it too fast. Can I get
Mm-hmm.
an exchange? And as time has gone by, I feel like games, oh, now it's definitely games as a service is just such a big thing. And you have that on one side. And when it comes to me paying full price for a game, I don't pay that often, but when I do, I feel like for me it's worth it. This is, I want to support them as much as possible. And for me it's like, okay, well, you know what? I'll bite. It's okay. This is one of maybe 3 full price games I buy this year. But
Mhm.
if I'm a kid and I don't, this is my one game, and you get not that much time. I mean, I don't know. Like it sucks. It really does stink. I don't know how to describe it then, because it will be me all over again telling my mom or dad, like, can we take it back?
I
And I
think, yeah, I think there's two ways to look at it. One is like the hours you'll put into a game. So it's like a 100-hour RPG and you pay $60 for it. I think that's pretty good value, right?
right.
But I mean, there's the other side of it where the comparison that a lot of people make is like, if you go to a movie,
The movie. Oh man.
how much money do you spend per hour of entertainment?
Which is it, and you think about movies too. You're actually paying about a third of the cost of a game now in a pretty big city. It's typically
Right.
almost $20, and that
$20, and you're in there for like what, 90 minutes, right?
yeah, you're in there for
But
like
if you
90
if
to
you go and you watch like, I don't know, like Spider-Man, like Spider-Verse in like 2 or something,
Mhm.
or whatever Marvel movie is coming out this year,
Yeah.
how many people on average walk out of the theater and say that wasn't worth my money? That wasn't worth it. Because it's at that point, it's not a dollar per time question. It's a dollar per like imaginary satisfaction unit, right?
Right.
So if you get like X number of satisfaction per dollar for that movie, and you can apply that to games like, let's say, Journey, which is really short, but people really, really enjoy. Uh, some people would justify that cost just because they enjoyed it so much.
Right. And it's it's hard to really kind of put it, because it's based off of your perspective, right?
Mhm.
It's so, in trying to relegate it to kind of everyone. I don't know. Like for me, like I said, I am fine paying it, but kind of trying to remove myself from it. And if I go and think about Marvel movies, right? Marvel movies to me have become like disposable income. So before, it was something I was excited to see, and then it became something I was wanting to continue to see. And then it became something I was like, okay, well, I'm filling in the blank of the story. And I can honestly tell myself that the more Marvel movies I watched over time, the less enjoyment I got from them. It wasn't, because they feel the same. They have a couple of the same jokes. You're kind of like, okay, I'm just watching to keep up with them. But I only watch them once a year, and I think that's
Mhm.
the thing. It's literally maybe once or twice a year I go to the theater, and that's my one. It's my one time. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go. Might as well. And that kind of negates the. I think I'm setting myself up for, regardless, I've accepted the cost and the time and how much enjoyment I'm going to get out of it. So it's almost like being an informed consumer in that sense, right? I think that
Right. Okay.
helps. I think that helps.
So
I don't know if
so
that
you
answers the
you
question,
feel
but
like, yeah. So you feel you don't mind spending that much money because you know you're gonna get X amount of minutes out of it, right?
right. I kind of have a gauge
Uh,
interest, or what I feel like I'm going to get out of it.
so yeah, I think video games are different in the sense that everyone gets different value out of a video game. And even if you know how long a video game takes to complete on average, like that might be different for you. Also, some
Mm,
people do multiple playthroughs of video games. Like, if I only did one playthrough of Nier, I would probably think that game is terrible. But because I did multiple playthroughs of Nier, then I got my value out of it. I got
mm,
my how much money did
mm,
I spend, like 7,000 yen or something. But I would say I got my value out of Nier, right?
yeah.
Despite the fact that I did not spend 70 hours in Nier, I still feel like it was well justified.
And I think maybe that's a little bit ish and I'm going to ask you a question after this, but kind of going back to Last of Us Part 2, in terms of like, I can see, honestly, and I haven't read the criticisms. I know what some of them are, but coming from a purely gameplay perspective, like I said, it's not that much different from Last of Us 1. It does do a good job of what it does, but it is, if you really want to look at it, if you really, really want to look at it, you're really just going through a kind of stealth section, or however you want to proceed through it section, with different variables, right? Same mechanics, not too much things changing. And then after that, it's searching for stuff. And then after that, it's usually kind of the action section again, and then after that, it's a um, story cutscene, right? And sometimes it's very much a rhythm. It is so much a rhythm that I know when it's going to happen, and like when I go back and I think like, can I play this again? Do I want to play this again? I've gotten my enjoyment out of it the first time, but if I'm someone else, would that annoy me that I did the same thing again and again and again, and I paid $60 and it's been hyped up and this game hasn't come out for 7 years? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
would you feel I looking from that perspective, I would feel let down. Like, and I don't know how the reviews went. I don't know what they said, but if that's one of the points, I can see it. I can 100% see it.
Sure. Yeah, I think it depends on how much of the game. Yeah, I guess how much you get out of it. Like if you don't enjoy that kind of gameplay, then you're probably not gonna feel like it was worth it, right?
Has there been a game in the last, I don't know, last couple of years or whatever that you felt has kind of let you down in that sense, that you paid but you didn't get your money's worth out of it quite, or didn't meet your expectations?
That's a good question, and it's tough to say because there are games where I buy but then just don't finish, and that's separate.
Hmm.
I think what you're saying is, are there any games that I was looking forward to and I had the intent on playing and beating, but then didn't, and then felt let down? Is that what you're saying, right? Not like, oh, that's on sale on Steam, I'm gonna buy it, but then don't play it.
Right, right. Like you bought for full price and then felt like you didn't get like that value.
I don't. That's tough to say because of part of what you're asking is games of that I had certain expectations for. I could say like, for example, Monster Hunter World,
Hmm.
which is a very good game, and I paid full price for it, but I didn't finish it, and I didn't even finish the story, like the main story.
Right, right.
But I'm not let down by it
Hmm.
because I didn't have a certain expectation for it. Like I didn't like tell myself like, oh, you're going to be playing Monster Hunter for the next year. I didn't tell myself that.
Right.
So I wasn't disappointed by it. So I don't know really. That's a really tough question to answer. Like I might maybe. Oh my god, I don't know. Probably some of the other RPGs by Square Enix, like Lost Sphere, I Am Setsuna,
Mm.
and to some degree even Octopath Traveler. Like
Okay.
I really, really wanted to like those games. Uh, but especially something like Lost Sphere is something which was hyped up as
Mm.
being inspired by Chrono Trigger, which is a game
Right,
that I love,
right.
right? So I really wanted to like that game, especially when they're like in all their marketing, they're like, oh, hey, you specifically, do you remember Chrono Trigger? We got more of that, but I just couldn't. I just wasn't hooked. I just wasn't like really, really into it. In fact, if anything, I was just like, oh, I might as well just go play Chrono Trigger again.
Yeah, and I can't even think of it like a game I've just been let down. And I think what it really comes down to is just like in music or just like in any other media that you do buy, over time you understand it. Hopefully over time you start understanding your likes and dislikes and your expectations, right? So like now when we buy a game, whether we play it, we half play it or whatever, we kind of know what we're getting ourselves into. You know what I mean? Like we're making more of a conscious choice as to how we see ourselves playing it after we've
Hmm.
bought it. And I think that just goes with age and hopefully, people, does it justify the price tag? I think that is something that you kind of go in, maybe do some research, maybe look at some reviews if you want to. Uh, Read the reviews. Don't just look at the scores or we recommend it. Just read what the reviewer wrote. Look at some gameplay online and say, hey, this seems like it could be for me. Like when I bought Dust Diver, I am literally like, when I found out it was kind of like more of a Dynasty Warriors game, I was like,
Hmm.
it looks good. It looks fun. It looks fun. And that is what I'm going into. I'm just gonna be like, it's fun. It's not gonna like make me go, this is amazing. I doubt it. But if it does, that's awesome. But what I'm going in is thinking, okay, just let me get my Dynasty Warriors, get some Persona in there, and I should be happy. That's it. I'm expecting like maybe 12, 13 hours and I'm done.
Sure, yeah, and I guess you're saying that if you get at least 12, 13 hours of gameplay out of it, you're not going to get disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you feel like it would be worth your money.
And I feel like it would be worth the money I paid for it.
Yeah, I
Not,
think for a recent example was Trials of Mana, the remake, which came out in March.
mm.
That was 40 USD, I believe. It's 50 CAD maybe, so pretty pricey. That's actually quite expensive.
For exact 1-to-1 remake of a.
Well, I mean, that's perceived value again, right?
Right. Right.
But I know some people are just like, it's too expensive for what I paid because it's a fairly short game. I want to see, let me check my Steam log time right now. So I have 34 hours in Trials of Mana logged on Steam. A little bit of that was grinding. A little bit of that is like me starting a second playthrough, but just not finishing. So let's say 30 hours.
Which is pretty standard, I think.
For 40 USD. And I think some people are like, that's too much to pay for this particular game. But I didn't mind it. I do agree. If I had to be a little honest, I would say that's more than I was expecting, but I wasn't let down by the game. So it doesn't hurt as badly.
Right.
I think if I paid 80 CAD for it, yeah, I would say that's a little too much. So I think they priced it just as much as they could get away with it, right?
Yep. That's what happens. And I guess we're gonna we actually went deep on that topic. Like I was just like, okay, this will be a little starter point for the news, and it's like
news.
This became the news.
All right, well, let's move on.
No, it's good. It's good. You know, we don't have. I mean, we do have like deep discussions, but we don't all. It's not every podcast. Like last podcast, our deepest discussion was about chicken nuggets. And
hey, I bought the newest. Hey, we were talking about the Kawi burger. Yeah, I tried that on the weekend.
Oh, how was that one? I tried
it's good. I do. Yeah,
I tried the Mighty Beef burger.
yeah. You said you liked it, right?
It was kind of weird, right? I still don't understand why it's Canada. Like the sauce was good, but I was just like,
Canada, What's the Canadian in it? Yeah, so I tried the Kawi burger. It was honestly pretty good, and it's probably the sauce that made it, by the way, because it's the typical yakiniku kind of sauce. So I have one more burger to try. That's the smoky barbecue burger from England.
Yeah. Another one that's like...
Yeah, I'm going to try that. Maybe I'll put in a little Uber Eats order tomorrow or something. I don't know.
You know, I was trying to figure out... So, no, I went yesterday to grab the spicy nuggets at night, and they're like, I'm sorry, we're sold out. I was like, no.
No, they're gone?
At least for now. I like maybe if I go down, go for lunch or something, they'll be there. But I did try I did get the Black Thunder McFlurry.
Oh, McFlurry. Yeah, good. Yeah.
That was good stuff. The
that's
peanuts
legit.
It's good.
I don't understand why they have to make it like a Gente thing. Like, just sell it normally.
That's like half of McDonald's menu throughout the years. You're like, just sell it normally. I
can understand like the Skimmy burger, which is seasonal. So Skimmy is like it's literally like moon viewing, and it's a seasonal thing because in Japan, I think in the fall.
I think
that's what you do. It's like moon viewing season.
Right.
So they sell a Skimmy burger, which is basically just a burger with a friggin' fried egg on it. Because I guess the yolk is supposed to be the moon or something.
They can't put cheese, so.
I totally understand the Skimmy burger being seasonal, but when it comes to like Black Thunder, that's not a season. Just sell that.
I feel like even the McFlurry isn't just there all the time. It's like, oh, here's a McFlurry, and then here's the. What is like they have so many different things that they just kind of rotate in between, and you're just like, yeah.
Well, the McFlurry is always there, but it's always Oreo. So in Japan, you can only get one McFlurry. It's the Oreo
that's
McFlurry.
That's the classic.
Yeah, and then like I think they have at least I don't know if they still have it. It's called the Choreo. So that's Cho Oreo, like big, which means super? Like super Oreo because they just put like. They put like a shitload of Oreos.
They just make it Oreo. They just crunch up a bunch of Oreos, and you're like, "Where's the ice cream at? Where's the ice cream?"
So that's called the Choreo, and then I don't know if it still have it, but then now or maybe not anymore is the Black Thunder McFlurry. But it's really good. They should just normal that.
They should normal it for our hearts.
Anyways, what's next?
Yep. Anyways, we're in like OT right now. We're in overtime, but The World Ends With You. The animation had its official trailer kind of teaser release, which I still have yet to play it. I own the game. I have tried to boot it up. It has been on iOS for a while. I don't know if they've taken it down or not, but
oh yeah, and it's on Switch now. Actually, if you want to play it on Switch,
I just want to know: does this game make sense sense? I mean, does this anime make sense to you? Like the
What do you mean
whole
that makes sense? what,
the
what do you
whole
mean?
like the whole thing about it that was so good was the gameplay, right? And the story was, I
Sure.
guess, fine. I mean, there wasn't
Yep.
anything like just amazing for it, but like, why does this exist?
Well, I think the art style really lends itself to an anime. The story itself is just very anime-like.
Yeah.
So I believe making it into an anime isn't quite unexpected because it really lends itself to an animation. The question is why? Like, why now?
Yeah, why
10 years
now?
later
Is
or
it
something?
the
More
10-year
than 10 years
anniversary
later.
or something?
Yeah,
Like,
like
is it just
13 years later. The question why is a good question. I don't know. Maybe they're leading up to a sequel, which would be pretty exciting.
it should be good, but then they'll have to figure out how to do that dual screen.
Well, they just might not
They just might not
do
do it.
the dual screen combo.
The only the straight mechanic that made that
because the
game.
Switch only has one screen and the phone only has one screen.
That's true. That's true.
So what they did basically was they took away control from your partner. So if you played it on the DS,
you control both, right? Top
yeah. So
and then the bottom was touch.
Neku is on the touchscreen. You control him with your stylus, and then you would use the buttons to control your top character on the top screen,
Mm-hmm.
and you would use both at the same time. But since the Switch and the whatever phone only has one screen, they basically just took away partner control.
All right. Well, we'll see how it goes with this anime. I don't think there's like a complete like air date right now, but
Just 2021, I think they said.
2021 is faster than Edge Runners. 2022, I was like,
Yeah, maybe we'll be watching this with the Olympics. Who knows?
and then also last week we had Ubisoft's Hyperscape. I really want to say Hyperscrape because there's so many skyscrapers in this. Tall buildings. It's Hyperscape.
Sounds like a terrible name. I don't know why you would think that. I don't know
just
why
like
you would
the
assume
R
that's
just
a
keeps
name.
putting itself in there for me. But it's new Battle Royale, which apparently is coming from the Division creators. And I will say the look of this game looks, and I was talking to a friend about this earlier, it looks like it's a YA novel. It looks like it came out of some young adults movie like Divergent or
Animorphs, sure.
Seriously, the tone, the color, if you just look at it, it looks kind of like that. There's all these triangles. Anyways, it's like dystopian looking or utopian dystopian. But it looks pretty interesting. I've looked at a couple streamers play it and just break it down. It does do something different at the very end, the very last ring. Instead of being the last team standing, there is a crown and there's a kind of King of the Hill game that goes on. So you want to get the crown and hold it for 30 seconds and then you actually win. A couple of interesting things that I found about the game was when you die, you actually just can roam around. You can ping the enemy. You can just you can basically be surveillance. And whenever someone else does die, their body leaves behind a respawn point. So not only just you, but anyone can go to those respawn points. And as long as your teammate's there to meet you, you can get brought back into the game. And you can do this as many times as you want. There's no limit on this. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So the game could just never end. Yeah.
Well, that's what's crazy. I think it's 100 people, but you can definitely do that in like third party, and then like someone third parties again, and this third parties, and all these people are waiting to spawn I don't know. It seems kind of cool, and there's a lot of vertical mobility, so that's where they're trying to distinguish the game is a lot of these kind of boost functions. You can fuse weapons. You can pick up the same weapon multiple times to upgrade it, make it more powerful, and the time to kill is really high. I mean, really high.
Really?
It's like 4 or 5 seconds starting
So
out.
it's 4 to 5 seconds. So that's like
with a machine gun going on somebody.
That's like a arena shooter. It's like Quake or something when you fight someone with full stack. So like full stack of health and full stack of armor. That's very long time to kill.
That's what it's kind of looking a little bit more like. The more gameplay I've looked at, it resembles an arena shooter very much, but just in a battle royale skin, with a lot of upward traversal jump platforms, kind of hacking mechanics where you can teleport, you can bounce in a ball really high.
Yeah, that all sounds really fun and exciting, but I just don't know like how well it'll do, especially like in the market right now. So you have Fortnite, Warzone, Apex Legends, PUBG. Anything else like those four?
I don't even. I think that's it, right? It feels like those are the main ones.
But like, I mean, I honestly feel like it's pretty like saturated. Like as a player myself, I only play Apex. I can't imagine anyone juggling more than 2 to 3 games, right?
Yeah, especially in the same genre. I think for streamers, it gives them something a little bit extra to kind of bounce into for a little bit. If they're not in Valorant, maybe this is something that they can kind of move into. Crucible, that thing dead. It literally
Oh
reversed
yeah,
itself
like
into
it went back in time. Right?
it
Yeah.
went back in time to like an alpha beta status. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, geez. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to more of that. And closing this out, well, Evo 2020 has been canceled. You can look up on the reasons. You can look up the reasons why. And if you have an opinion on it, just let us know. Like, send us a tweet, or definitely leave us a voicemail what you think about it, and we'll read it on the show. We'll try to give an opinion about it. We kind of stay away from any of the kind of new, I guess not controversy, but just kind of those topics to say that have been kind of going on in the world. And it's not that we don't have an opinion on it or anything. We just kind of want to keep the show fun, light, fun, fast, fresh. What did I say?
Yeah, what did you say?
I said fun, light, fun, fast, and fresh all together.
Sure. Never say that again.
Yeah. Anyways, everybody. That's pretty much it. That's all I got to say. I don't have anything else. I believe I will be a guest on a podcast about the Drive With Us podcast.
Oh, cool. That's exciting.
July 17th, you'll be able to, I will be recording, and I'll have more details when it goes up. But it's a pretty cool thing. It's two girls in America who are talking about like their experiences, not their experiences, but just sharing everyone's experience who writes in or who calls in, just about their driving experience. You can hear me talk about how my driving in Japan and even in the US, how I, I'm such a perfect driver. You can hear some fun stories there. So I'll let you guys know a little bit more about that as we go. Alex, you have anything else on closing, man?
No. I guess. No? That's it. Play Chrono Trigger. It's on sale, by the way, for like the next 4 days. By the time this podcast goes up, I think the sale will have ended. But in case you're a time traveler, go play Chrono Trigger. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
If you're a time traveler, go back, play Chrono Trigger and BMX AAA.
Oh, that's funny, yeah.
And you can also play Guilty Gear X and Core XX. You can just fill your lives with X's. Maybe you'll finally hit the spot. X marks the spot for greatness. Anyways, until next week, episode number 41. And I guess we're almost about time for a new season. We'll catch you later. Remember, enjoy what you do. You set the tone. Go play some games and enjoy your life. Be a nice person. And we'll talk to you later. Peace.
Peace. I said that really strongly. Sorry. Peace.